Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling. And man, I really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to spend some time with me on it, because we're going to be talking about hell freezing over today and the fact Jacob Wheeler is leading the Bass Pro Tour event on the Harris chain without live scope or forward facing sonar. He's actually real bass fishing. I got a lot to say about this, so we're going to get into it in today's video, because my inbox is getting covered up with the news of this coming out. So we're going to discuss it today, and I'd be curious to get your guys' feedback as well. I'm also, guys, a couple quick housekeeping tips. I'd just like to invite you all to consider hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. It's free and easy to do so, man. We're working really hard to try to get 150,000 subscribers. So that's a good way to help the channel out. And also, guys, please check out my sale on the SolarBat series RB3 and RB2 series, my signature sunglasses from SolarBat. You can get them at 30% off right now on the website. I'll put that link in the description of the video if you guys like to pick up a pair. Man, the optical clarity on these things are second to none. They're absolutely awesome. Okay, guys, I wanted to do this video because I have got my inbox is full of people saying, "Oh, Randy, you don't know what you're talking about. Jacob Wheeler is, leading the tournament down there without forward-facing sonar, and you say that forward-facing sonar is winning every tournament, and it's just, just give it up." They're basically just gushing over the fact that Jacob Wheeler is leading this tournament without using the cheater box. And guys, that should tell you everything you need to know right there. So we're going to talk about that. Now, first of all, let's talk about Jacob Wheeler. Jacob Wheeler is a freaking hammer. He is arguably one of the best bass fishermen that has ever lived. He does not need forward-facing sonar to dominate the sport. He was dominating the sport before the cheater box even became an issue. And yeah, most of his success over the past couple of years, like anyone else that has been at the top of the game, has caught him using the cheater box because he was forced into it. He got good at it, but he didn't have to have it. I had a chance to fish with Jacob years ago in this FLW promo deal. And guys, the time that I spent with him in the boat, I could tell immediately there was something special about that guy. I have fished with tons of the top pros in the world: Clun, Larry Nixon, Hank Parker, Roland Martin. I fished with Denny Brower, all of them. And Jacob Wheeler, guys, there's something special about that guy. So this isn't a video to slight Jacob Wheeler any way, shape, or form. The point of the video is I want to talk about this fake outrage over the fact that Jacob Wheeler is actually catching them without the cheater box, and that everything that I have been talking about is a moot point. Okay, now let's examine the reality of this situation. If people have to just flip out of their minds and post it all over social media and send me tons and tons of messages that Jacob Wheeler is actually doing well in a tournament without using the cheater box, what does that tell you? If it becomes front page news that is like all plastered all over the place, that somebody is actually catching a bass without forward-facing sonar, like they are a little bit at the Harris chain and they did a little bit at Lake Conroe, not very much, then what does that tell you about how much that the cheater box has taken over and dominated fishing, when the technique, when you're not using that technology, it's just such an anomaly that everybody freaks out about it? That should tell you everything that you need to know about it. Another thing that you have to understand about bass fishing is they're in Florida. Florida is probably the #1 state where the cheater box does not play as much of an impact, although it does play a huge impact. And it wouldn't surprise me by the end of the Harris Chain Bass Pro Tour event that the tournament is one spotlighting by the end of the tournament. But when you're talking about lake structures that have a tremendous amount of shallow water grass cover, that is more conducive to traditional bass fishing techniques. Although with perspective mode and all the other stuff they got, these dudes have figured out how to use the cheater box in Florida in 3 foot of water. So it's not like they're immune to it. And there's always going to be that outlier. It's like there's always going to be a few fish get caught without using the cheater box. But when you look at the big picture, as far as the overall catch, the winds, the consistency of the winds, the complete total domination of that technology over traditional bass fishing techniques, it's undisputable. And you can't occasionally call out something like Jacob's Wheeler performance, so far in that tournament for not using forward-facing sonar as some type of a trend that forward-facing sonar is just not another tool. All these guys out there, one of the most laughable things that I see in the sport is all these guys out there that say these dudes that rely completely on forward-facing sonar would still dominate without it. Guys, that is a bunch of crap. That would not happen. Yeah, you're going to have a few guys like Jacob Wheeler and Dustin Cannell, those guys that are just, you know, they're in the 1% of the 1% of bass anglers. Yeah, they're going to do well with it without of it. But the majority, the vast majority, over 95% of the anglers that you have seen dominate the sport, that are in the top 10 or top 20 of the Angler of the Years, that qualify for the Classic, that win the tournaments, the vast majority of them, guys, are just, they're just average anglers that happen to have taken advantage of this technology and exploit it without having real bass fishing skills. Now, the only way that you can, know that for sure is to take it away from them. Until you take that technology away from them for an entire season, then everything else that what you're saying in terms of they would be able to compete without it is pure speculation backed up by no fact whatsoever. But we do know that in order to be a successful bass angler at traditional bass fishing techniques, that you have to have a mastery of seasonal patterns and seasonal movements of fish, and to be versed in a diversity of different bass fishing techniques. And if you spend all of your time spotlighting for bass, you don't have any dirt time to learn those traditional techniques because they take time. Guys, you can't master the art form of flipping and pitching and breaking down structure and breaking down, how bass position within shallow structure, and knowing everything about bait profile and bait color and line size and weight size that all incorporates the art form of flipping, unless you spend decades doing it. You can't just watch a YouTube video and get good at it. You can't be somebody that's 19 years old and have 2 seasons underneath your belt and be an expert at it. But you can be somebody like that and have somebody show you how to use a cheater box and incorporate it, to do well in tournaments. We've seen that, play out big time the last couple of years. Mainly what I want to talk about here is just like I said, how funny it is that everybody has to jump over this entire deal that Jacob Wheeler's catching them without forward-facing sonar, or anybody at any time catches one without forward-facing sonar. It's like that 1% of the people that do that, that's what they pick up on. So anyway, guys, I just thought that was funny. I wanted to bring it to your attention, and I hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk later.